He's definitely a person you want to learn from, Hunt. I've learned a lot from him, despite him not liking my play style of charging, not charging. We're working that out. We're working that out. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tats, and today we're sitting down with some scotch, and we're going to be talking video games with a good friend of mine who I met on Twitch by the name of Agent3540. So, with that being said, I'm going to be drinking some scotch from Glenfiddich. It's the probably the cast series. It's called XX. I do encourage you all to have a drink with us as we talk, but please, be over the age of 21. No need to be underage and drinking. We don't like that here. So tell us, Agent3540, how did you come up with that name, and how long have you been streaming?
So I started streaming back in the like OG PUBG days, right? So what was that? About 5 years ago?
That was like what, 2013? Yeah.
No, not 2013. It wasn't that. It's not that long ago. It was like 2017-ish, I think.
Okay.
The way that it happened is I saw somebody streaming PUBG, and that game grabbed my interest, right? I'd been doing mostly console gaming, like not really PC gaming, and I was like, I want to play this game. And because I saw somebody streaming it, I was like, oh shit, I could do that. I should do that. And so so that's what like pulled me into it. So the was it 2017, I think, or was it 2018?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in that ballpark. And so I was like, I should try this. And I probably spent like 2 months trying to come up with a name.
Okay.
And I've been using Agent3540 as my gamer tag for like 12 years now. But so I had worked a previous job, not there anymore, but they gave everybody badges and badge numbers. And so me being the absolute dork that I am, went with that as my gamer tag, because I was all like, look, I got a badge number. And no, it wasn't in any type of like law enforcement or, you know.
Well, you know what my badge number is, right?
What's that?
420.
420. Nice.
It's 420.
Nice.
I got to work and they're like, here's your badge. And I'm like, seriously? I'm like 420.
Wait,
it's seriously 420.
Seriously 420?
Yes, it is seriously 420.
You realize you can never leave now, right? Like
No,
that has to be.
I'm stuck.
Like here going forward, you're stuck there.
I feel that, you know, I mean, my OG gamer tag, I took inspiration. I'm a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, and Shredder's my favorite. I got a tattoo of him. So my old school, we're talking like 360. My gamer tag was X the Shredder.
X the Shredder. See, the X identifies your age, right? Because the X's at the beginning and or the end or both of the gamer tag like scream that you're legit.
Yes, that is exactly how I did it. Now, Agent, I know I'm not the only one drinking tonight. What do you have for us tonight?
So one of my viewers, who's an absolute madman, knows that I enjoy scotch, and he and I have talked at length about it. And I told him how like I would love to try Johnny Walker Blue, but I don't want to buy a bottle. Well, this guy, he hauls off and he goes, nice. I'm going to send you a bottle.
And then that's absolutely amazing.
He personalizes it, which I don't know if it's backwards or not. But
nope, it comes up good.
Cool. He personalizes it. And I'm like, oh my God. So like, I figured this is a great occasion to break out the Glencairn glass, drink some Johnny Walker Blue, and hang out with a good friend.
I couldn't agree more. Plus, I gotta say, this is my first time having this Project XX. Dang, is it good? It might be better than the IPA one that I have.
Oh,
I know that says a lot because I love IPAs. So
I went to Total Wine and I looked everywhere to try and find that bottle.
You're not gonna find it
because I wanted to drink it tonight, but I couldn't find it.
You're not. It's so hard to find the experimental cast series. Like I've been trying to find. I think it's either Winter Storm. That one I showed you. I've been trying to find that for the better part of 2 years, and I cannot find it. These are so hard because these bottles, because Scotch is made in such a certain way that these are experimental. So these are made outside the ordinary way Scotch normally is.
Right.
And this was the first one. Then the second one was the IPA, and I can't remember what the third one was.
Are those blends or are they like a specific age?
These are more blends than anything. Okay. It says 20 minds, one unexpected whiskey, warm summer fruit aromas, sweet candy floss, and liqueur notes, which it's all there. It's so good. So let's talk about something good Twitch did for us. I actually found you from the recommendation tab, which is pretty freaking rare on Twitch.
It really is. Twitch needs to figure out their discoverability and stuff like that. But you know, I was surprised when you pop in and you start talking, and it's like, you know, this other awesome individual also streaming on Twitch. I feel like the discoverability of Twitch is its biggest handicap.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
But let's talk about the game that I found you playing, and which is also a cripple addiction for me and probably you. Hunt Showdown.
Yeah.
So, Agent, let's let you go first. How many hours do you have in that game?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. Let me pull up the exact number. As of right now, I have 1,496.7 hours.
Oh, I think what am I on? I am on 697 hours right now.
So your crippling addiction isn't as impressive as my crippling addiction.
No, but I was also late to the party. So we both have a love for Hunt Showdown. I've come on your stream several times. You know, we played offline a lot. Hunt Showdown's also a game that's been full of controversy ever since its full release. Would you agree?
Yes and no. There's different times where like a decision that Crytek makes sparks the ire of people, of the fan base. One of the things I'll tell you is that like it's a better game than the number of people that play it, right? Like it never quite got to the point where I think it could have, as far as like how large of a player base it really deserves.
I would agree, and I would say we probably peaked at the Scrap Beak event when we had what, 40,000 concurrent players, or was it more than that?
Around there.
That was probably like
the high 30s.
And I will admit that was a great event outside of, you know, having to. I think that's when they started introducing the paid boosts for the points. I think that's what that was.
So, no, they've always had some form of like boosts to the event points. You could get syringes and things like that. That was the first time that they changed it to be contracts, so that it only infected one player. The boosts before, it was a way that you would buy kind of like the adrenaline shots or the the vitality shots. I said adrenaline, stamina shot, but you would buy those and it would affect the entire party.
That's right.
But there were a lot fewer ways to get points then. You basically had to kill event items, and that was it. Yeah, I remember that.
So, you know, they just wrapped up their first ever what we'll call season pass, battle pass, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Do you feel that this has put Hunt Showdown in a better state or a worse state going forward?
So I think the battle pass thing is a good idea. I think that there needed to be more to it than what they did, right? Like there were a good number of cosmetic items, but I don't think there were enough. There were times where it should have been its individual cosmetic, but you got 3 of the cosmetic you unlocked later in the battle pass.
You see, I was wondering about that because I actually had a few of those because obviously I didn't complete the season pass, and I was like, wait, I got these now, but I unlocked them later. I was kind of like, that doesn't make sense.
Right. And so that was like, that should have been its own cosmetic, maybe a more basic cosmetic, but its own cosmetic. I think one of the things that they did right was the battle pass was 1,500 blood bonds, their in-game currency. Mm-hmm. But throughout the whole thing, you got about 1,100 back.
Oh, so I didn't even realize that. You almost even out.
Yeah. You basically break even. And so that's why I say like there were some things that they did really well. And I think that was one of them because it's not, it influenced me to buy blood bonds, which I hadn't done before. But now I've got enough that the next event rolls around and I can basically buy the next event.
You're good to go
without having to pay again. But that's me. I'm not really one that's like out here buying every blood bond event thing, right?
Right. You're not buying every DLC that comes out, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. But I would agree. I think this was definitely a breath of fresh air because as this game relies on a lot of post-purchase content, DLC, as we just said, weapon skins and DLC hunters specifically. I do think this was a step in the right direction. My one negative critique is it took forever. But again, it's their first one. Maybe they can balance it out. But man, I could come out with maybe 100, almost 200 points if I had like a really good game. But it barely did a dent on one level, you know?
Right. It took 21 or 22,000 points to complete the entire pass. It was over 60 days. And I would play twice a week for about 3 hours each time. And I finished it at about day 45.
Yeah,
So
I think I think me as a casual player, just playing when I did, I got to level 20, so
yeah. Well, 20 was the end of the event.
Oh, I'm sorry, not 20, 12. Sorry,
12. Yeah.
I got to 12.
Yeah, so like, but and a lot of the blood bombs were at the tail end of the event, which like kind of encouraged you to do a little more. But so it was more difficult for casual players, and that's why I said I think they needed more cosmetics throughout the entire thing.
Yes.
Right, not just 3 of 1 item. And like I said, even if it was a more basic cosmetic, they needed something that was more value so that the casual player that gets to level 12, right, gets 5, 6, 7 cosmetics, whereas the person who finishes it may get like 10, 12, 13, something like that, to where it's the value is there for it.
Right. And I just kind of had a real quick thought pot in my head. What if in between just in between the main tiers they just threw in old skins from past events? Just like every now and then, like Krampus or Billy's Story that people still are clamoring to get.
That's a good point, and they kind of are doing that.
Oh.
So the next event that starts next week, it's a Twitch Drops event. It's not an in-game points event. But while that Twitch Drops event is going on, there's going to be quest lines inside the game. So it'll be like, get 3 kills, do this, do that. And as you do that, you'll unlock different items from that event, but also past items like Billy's Story, the Bingham Brash, which is the Martini repost.
I was going to say that's good. That's the one you typically use a lot, right?
Yeah, that's
okay. That's what I thought. See, and
nice bronze color.
See, I was lucky when they did now I think people missed out on it because you and I got both experienced the first ever Hunt Twitch drops, and they were absolutely just wonderful. Probably the best but most chaotic event they ever did. I mean, there was no cap. There was no cap, and I think my second drop was like Billy's Story. But I was so set in Hunt after that event happened, I didn't even need to Siege for a while.
It was so like. What was it? Every 30 minutes, you would get a random item. So like sometimes you would get like 5 knuckle knives, or you would get 5 Mosins.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I think I came out of that event at the end of it without having sold any of the items, just getting dollars from Hunt dollars from the event with like 36,000 Hunt dollars.
Yeah. I think I had like 20 knuckle knives. I'm not gonna. I did a video way before I knew. I actually did a video on it. It's one of my most viewed videos.
I sold so many Crown and Kings.
Oh yeah,
so many.
So I guess let's segue into this. You've got a lot of hours in Hunt. What is your favorite aspect of the game?
So when you play games like PUBG, when you play games like Warzone, Call of Duty, right, Battlefield. One of the main things that you run is a fully automatic gun, 60 rounds in the magazine or 40 rounds in the magazine, whatever you've got, right? Or is it the clip? I don't know. Somebody's going to fuss at me. Somebody's going to fuss at me about using the wrong terminology. But anyway, and you left click and you hold and it just sprays, right? And in Hunt Showdown, there's one gun, the
Afto?
The Aftermath.
The Aftermath.
Yeah, I don't know why I lost the name. I never use it.
Oh, neither do I. It's 15 rounds and you're done.
Right, and it's 3-round burst.
Yeah.
And that's the closest to a spray and pray gun that this game has.
Well, we'll get into this. We'll segue into something about that later. But yeah.
The others are semi-automatic. And there's fanning, right, and levering, which borderline, right? But even then, there's a limited number of bullets that you have in these guns versus that 60-round magazine or 60-round clip versus, you've got a big machine gun or light machine gun, and it's got 200 rounds.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? You're going to run.
Yeah, there's no other choice.
But the number of times that I've gone in with a gun that holds 1 bullet and dropped players, flick shot, headshot, or setting up an ambush and catching them as they come out of a compound because they were being loud, like that just feels satisfying.
I can attest. I've watched him do this many times.
running up with the bayonet on the front of my gun and stabbing a dude, right? Like those things are way more satisfying than me kicking in a door in PUBG with a 40 round clip and just like spraying somebody down.
Yeah,
Now,
just banging a frying pan. Just go, let's go!
Right. Bam, bam, bam. FBI. No, the recoil control is impressive still, though. But like, it feels way more satisfying, and the suspense of the gunfights and stuff like that is higher to me in Hunt.
I know, and I'm right there with you. I would say I have two favorite aspects. One being is the sound design. I still, to this day, it is 2022 as of recording this, and I still don't think there has been a multiplayer FPS game that matches the sound quality that Hunt Showdown gives. When someone walks on wood, I know it. When they walk on metal, right. I know it. They walk on mud, I know it. I can tell where they are. When
they're above you, when they're below you, you can
question it.
The number of times, like, I've probably gotten reported at some point because I would hear somebody crouching, walking behind that wall, and you know they're crouching because it sounds different.
Yep.
And you can guess right about where they are, and you shoot them through the wall.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and that's something that's too, it really is. And I've gotten a couple of those shots too. And it's just like, oh yeah, which leads me to my second favorite aspect is I believe Hunt Showdown has the best headshot sound effect, period.
That lovely squish.
Yeah. You don't have to question it. Ah! I heard the squish and the, it's like, I know they're dead. And, and I think that's what makes Hunt Showdown great is those two aspects.
Yep. Comparing it to like PUBG, there were times where I would be in a building and it's 3 floors and I'm on the middle floor and I'm sitting there going, are they above me or are they below me? Yeah. I have no idea. And then like you hear them and you think they're to your right and then you get shot from the left.
Yep. And I've played Call of Duty, more recently Warzone, and I can't tell if they're outside, inside, above, below. I hate it. I just like it. And I think it's kind of spoiled me. Like, if there's one thing Crytek did right, and they take their time with it, they take seriously, it is those sound effects. Because not only did we hear the footsteps, based on what gun you use, we can tell how far away you are. And I don't think a lot of people know this. In Hunt Showdown, you can test fire guns and see if you can see the flash or hear it from that range, which I think, show me another game that does that.
Right. You can, you go into the spectate and you use the scroll wheel on the mouse, and you can get 200 meters away and shoot that gun and know what it sounds like.
Yeah. I know what a carabiner sounds like, a Mosin, fanning, like the fact that we as players in Hunt Showdown, we can specifically be like, oh, that's this, it's probably in this compound right now. That's how spot on the sound design is of that game.
It starts from when you boot the game up. It plays that little audio clip where it sends the bell around your head, even if you're using like stereo headphones.
What?
It moves around you.
What?
You haven't heard that sound effect like when you start Hunt?
I've heard it, but I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it moves. It moves around your head. You can hear the directional sound. It's like the bell chime, and it goes from in front of you, around the left, all the way around the right, back to in front of you. Listen next time you start up Hunt. Make sure you have your headset on.
I always
and listen to it.
Agent out here just blowing my mind. This is what you get from a veteran player. So
that's the level of care they gave with the audio.
I guess
make sure you have it set to stereo.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
because that makes a difference.
We don't want that monotone.
Yeah. Or even if you have headphones that do like the fake 7.1.
Yep.
Turn that off too, and just have it set to stereo with their default, like their own fake 7.1.
So,
pretty cool.
You've already mentioned this earlier, but what is the weapon you use most, or your your go-to weapon? And you're going into the hunt, you want to win. What's the go-to weapon?
My go-to main weapon is the Bingham Brash, which is the Martini Henry repost, and then my offhand is the Undertaker's Ally, which is the Nagant.
Nagant, that's what it is. Yeah, that's that's a silver-looking one with the pattern on it, right?
Yes.
I do believe I think I have that one.
And I like the pair because the officer fires quick.
Mm-hmm.
So if I miss you with the one bullet
one bullet,
then I can switch to that pistol and I've got 7 rounds.
Yeah.
To kind of play with.
Now, I typically like to use that. However, ever since I completed the Hunt Showdown trials, I always bring the Last Resort, the Lamat. I got to flex that a little bit because not many people did that, you know? So
I
that's
haven't done it yet.
exactly. So that's my go-to secondary. But honestly, the try and true for me is the Carabiner. Like, that's the only gun I am, like, I could send multiple rounds downfield. I get you. And I've been really into the silencer lately, the variation of it, which is
I like
chef kiss.
I like when I run the carabiner. I like running the Scottfield as the sidearm. The Scottfield Brawler kind of is not quite as fast as the officer, but it uses medium ammo, so it's shared ammo between the two guns.
Yes.
And it fires very quickly. It's that little stubby one.
Is that 4 rounds or 6 rounds? I can't remember.
6.
It is 6. Okay. Which
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. Just a little quick segue here. There's this guy over in Europe. I think it's London. He like reviews video game weapons.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen the one for Hunt Showdown?
I did.
They specifically talk about the Scottfield. They're like, this is not practical how this gun works.
The brake pistol.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
But there's also it's like missing a clip at the top.
Yeah.
That would make it stable. So when you break it in half, like, and you go back up, there's nothing mechanically at the top to hold the gun together.
Yeah, and then it's just
so when you pull that trigger, it would just like
it would just
flop apart on you.
Oh, again, another reason.
Nice.
You know, and I think just real quick, we should acknowledge the guns in Hunt Showdown and the quality of them and like how accurate they are to that time period. Like they're pretty spot on. I mean, you got the Springfield. I mean, gosh, there's so many guns now. There wasn't this many guns back when I first started playing. No, and there wasn't special ammo or anything like that. I remember it was the Assassin, the Butcher, and the Spider, and then like when I heard about dual wielding coming, I was like, what?
The dual. So I'll tell you the reason the dual wielding is in the game.
Oh wait, well hang on. Let's put a pin in this because we're gonna be talking about what our least favorite part of Hunt Showdown is. So is it dual wielding for you, Agent?
Sometimes they've made some moves to improve it.
They have.
But the reason that dual wields would be my least favorite is because when I try using dual wields, and like my aim's not god tier in this game, but I'm pretty good, I think.
He's god tier. Don't let him fool you.
You got to stay humble, right?
Absolutely.
But when other people use dual wield 2 handguns, they're like 60 meters away and they instantly headshot me.
Yes.
And then I do the same exact thing, crosshairs on the person, and they are much closer, and I get nothing.
You just whip. You're just like, wait, what?
That could be just a me problem.
That's me too.
Because the number of times I've been headshot by dual wields from that distance.
I feel you, and I'm there with you. I'm in the camp of, man, dual wielding is great sometimes, and dual wielding is awful. Most of the time, it's bad. Now, for me, I think we can both kind of agree on this when it comes to Hunt Showdown. It is the quote-unquote, and this is a slang term for Hunt Showdown, don't get offended out there, anybody, but just rats. And you know what rats I'm talking about. The ones, the solo players, or the solo groups that stick back, Mosin Nagant sniper. You'll never see them, but they will headshot you the minute you show your head. I hate it.
200 meters, 300 meters.
Yep. Actually,
solo queue.
Recently, and I believe I'm working on this video right now. Stay tuned for that. There was 2 people that rushed. We're at Brinery. Let me set this thing for. We're at Brinery. We vanished. We got 2 approaching, and we take them out. And we're like, well, this is weird. Where's the 3rd guy? Well, my teammate runs out. Boo! He flops. My other teammate goes out. Boo! He flops. And I'm like, oh, shoot. You can't even see him on this, because we got the bounty this way. You can't even see him on scan. Yeah. Can't even see him on scan. So I circle all the way back to Goddard. Now, I'm positive the teammates that were in the compound were his, and I burnt them. But this guy, I never saw him. I tried to find him, but the closer you try to get to him, the further he runs away. And I can't understand that aspect of playing the game. You and I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of different ways to play Hunt, but this one just is frustrating.
Yeah, and like part of what I tell people is like nobody owes anyone a play style.
That's true.
Right? Part of what makes Hunt great is that like I can go in with a single shotgun that has a sword on the front of it, and I will shift W into whatever compound you're in, and I am coming to get you.
Absolutely.
But then there's people that sit inside buildings with shotguns.
Oh,
people that sit 200 meters away with sniper rifles, right? Like
it's
you can play the game however you want to. It's not the same mindset as other battle royales where
sure.
and Hunt isn't exactly a battle royale, right? I think they've actually created a new
Oh, it's a
category
niche.
for it.
Absolutely.
Extraction shooters is what they've started calling it.
Yeah, I think Tarkov has the key to that. But yes, they're right there with Tarkov.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's the thing that you mentioned too. I wasn't even going to touch on the shotgunners that just camp in there. I tell you what,
I can outplay a shotgunner though.
I know you can. I've seen you.
Meters. I can't see 300 meters away without a scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually, and this is probably my second least favorite part about Hunt Showdown, and I can't fold it. It's a mechanic in the game, but it is frustrating. The hunting team that will hunker down on a bounty, concertina the wire, concertina mine every door and window. You can't get in, they can't get out, and if you even try to go in, you're dead.
Yep. In instances like that, I've started when they've got everything wired.
Yeah.
We'll make some noise, right? And then we'll sneak away. Right? So we'll stay long enough that we know they've exhausted their dark sight. So now they have no visibility outside.
Okay.
We'll make some noise, we'll move around, we'll act like we're trying to get in, and then we will creep out of there as slowly and quietly as possible and leave them in the compound. So that they sit there for the rest of the game timer trying to decide, are they there still? Are they out there?
Oh, no, really?
Do we go?
Oh,
yeah, I've left the compound with like 30 minutes left on the 45-minute game timer.
Oh my gosh.
Just because every exit was barbed wired.
I feel that.
And we took like 8 minutes to like wander down to the extraction and they still hadn't moved from the compound. I feel like if I had waited there for another 10 minutes, they would have still been inside that building.
Oh, without a doubt. And I will give credit to Hunt Showdown. They do create traits that could counter this. If you get there fast enough and you have Serpent, you can slurp up that bounty if you're quick enough.
And like you can see to some degree the lightning through walls and stuff like that, and I can shoot you through the wall. Yeah. So when you use dark sight, if you don't have the bounty and you use dark sight,
I know the lightning.
See the lightning coming down from the sky, but like you can use it, especially on night maps. You can see the outline of the person when the lightning strikes. Like you can see them.
Let me write that tip down. That's 2 tips I don't know about now.
So if you find some walls that have some gaps and little things like that, you can see the lightning through the wall on the inside and kind of pick on them a little bit.
That's wild. So, we've talked about your favorite gun. How about a favorite hunter? You got one?
So I switch sometimes. The first one that was my favorite legendary that I grabbed was Carcass Gunrunner.
Which one's
Can you go wrong with a dude named Carcass Gunrunner?
Is that the guy with the top hat?
I don't think he has a top hat. He's the jacked looking butcher dude.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah, and I don't think does he have a hat? I don't think
I thought he did. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I swear he has one.
I can double check. But I also like Fellas.
Yeah.
Pretty badass with the skull and the all the
well,
and stuff like that.
What's that new one that just came out that's got another skull? They just came out.
There's Luna Wolf. And then
there's the pigeon looking. It came out with a pigeon looking
Howl.
one. Yeah, the Howl. That's what it is. That one. That one's really cool
too.
But
I've done all the events and stuff like that so far. So I like to flex on people with hunters that like they don't commonly have. The Plague Doctor, for example.
I got that one.
Billy's Story.
Yep, got that one.
So that's gonna change here in a minute because people have been rabid.
I don't get. Like I said, I was lucky. I got Billy's Story on like my second drop during that event. Yeah. I don't think he's not my personal favorite. I mean, he's a cool guy, but like if I had to pick like my go-to personal hunter,
yeah.
I mean, it's probably the Plague Doctor. I mean, that one is just that was a lot to get for that event. It was a lot.
I do like the Plague Doctor.
I just like the gimp suit. But I think a close second, the one that I always run, and it's just like a meme, is the Researcher. Like, I don't know why. Yeah. I just like the Researcher. It's one of my...
He's pretty cool. I like the backpack that he's got with all the gear on it.
Too bad it's not a frying pan. I could, deflect bullets like a certain other shooter that you played. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe they'll invent... I'm just saying. So, we've talked a lot about Hunt Showdown. What are your hopes for the future going forward? Obviously, we're in between events. We're about to have the Twitch drops, but we assume another season pass is coming. What do you want to see from Crytek by the, we'll say the next calendar year, till October of next year? What's something that you want to see?
So I think things that bring a lot of hype to games, right? So like a new map would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what I would like to see as a new boss, like specifically.
And I think I know what it
Um,
is. Tell me.
it's something called a Rougarou, which is a Louisiana swamp monster.
Yep.
Very similar to like a werewolf-esque
so
type
good.
monster. But there is so much history in Louisiana around that specific swamp monster that I think it would be awesome. And they have a gun named Rougarou, so they know it exists.
Oh, it's even better.
Yeah, they know it exists and everything like that, as far as like the lore behind it and everything like that. But I would love to see, because it would be a werewolf. You could do like bleed or something like that. It could charge quickly. It could act a little erratically.
Oh, I like
So
this.
think like a blend, a little bit of like the spider or the assassin. Maybe make it more aggressive than either of those two.
I would argue Scrapbeak's the most aggressive.
Scrapbeak is, but he's slow.
It's because he's a train.
Yeah, he's a train. He just walks at whoever's closest, right? But like you could create something that did something a little different. Maybe it pounces, maybe it runs, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
you
it'll
could.
hide behind things and break line of sight on you,
Oh,
right?
that'd
Make
be
it like a
good.
more intelligent boss than the other
God,
ones.
yes.
Because the other ones, like the butcher, even like he just runs around screaming at shit and throws fire at people, and then if
Yeah,
you
it's
get
true.
close, he'll swing at you. The assassin, and the spider are similar mechanics where they move around. Like the assassin has the damage reduction, but he doesn't pounce. The spider will pounce. But imagine if like it's more of like an ambush hunter, right? So you walk in and you're in the compound, like the building. You're in the right place because the health bar pops up, everything
Sure.
like that. But maybe you can't see where it is in the building on dark side.
Oh, that would be so. Like
You're-
it actually hides in the shadows or something.
Yes.
Yes, I
You're
can get
wandering
behind that.
through, you're checking the corners, you're going through the building, you're looking for it, and then all of a sudden it pounces.
That would
Right?
be.
Like,
that would be.
awesome.
Yes. I mean, I would want. I want a crocodile boss at some point, but that blows my crocodile out of the water. Give me that.
Like you could make a crocodile boss, but like it would probably end up being somewhat similar to how Scrapbeak acts, right? Maybe make it a little bit faster. It being lower to the ground, it'd be a little harder to just shoot outright.
Yeah. I think the big thing I'd like to see, and I know it's not going to happen, but it'd just be great to see the bounties just wander the entire map.
It would be cool. Something else that would be cool is that, like, imagine if you had a type where not necessarily wandering the map as much as like you would catch it just out in between compounds, but like, what if the boss could move? So you get your 3 clues and you're like, hey, it's at Lawson, right? So we go to Lawson Station, and when we get there, there's a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And you loot that clue and you find out that, while we were getting the other ones, it moved to Parish, Arden Parish.
Oh, yes, yes,
Like that.
yes. That'd be great.
Make it more like a tracking. That would be pretty cool. I don't know if their engine is built
Probably
to allow
not.
for that.
Probably not, but we can dream. That's why these are our hopes and dreams of the future of
Yeah.
Hunt Showdown.
That
So
would be pretty cool.
now let's get into our next topic: horror games. Typically, you play Hunt 2 days a week, but Mondays typically your single player game. You typically play a lot of horror games. So I guess what's been the best horror game you've ever played or streamed?
Man, that's when I read the question initially, I'm like, that's a big question
know.
because there's so many great horror games, and some of them are more suspense driven than like outright horror. Did you ever play Outlast? I'm sure you played Outlast.
Oh yeah, never finished it though.
That was a great game.
Yes.
And part of what made it terrifying wasn't that there were all these threats around you. It's that you couldn't fight. There was nothing.
There's nothing you could do.
You had no way of fighting back. You had nothing. Your hands were like completely tied. You just had to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I really enjoyed that. I don't know that I can pick a favorite. I can pick a recent favorite.
Sure, let's go with that.
Which we'll refer back to here in a little bit.
Oh,
But
no.
A recent favorite would be Alien Isolation.
How did I know?
But that game, like, I'm not one that reacts big, right? Like, I don't get scared too super often. I'm not.
He's not me.
the
He's not
person,
me.
Right? I'm not Tat's level of scream when I get scared. But that game got me. Like
Really?
over and over again, that game got me.
Now, just in general, was it the androids or was it the alien itself?
The Alien.
Really?
And so, like, how much do you know about that game? Do you
Oh,
know
quite a
just
bit.
what I told you?
I know a lot. I don't know a lot of the jump scares. I know the general plot, but
Do you know how the AI works in that game?
no, I don't.
So there's actually 2 AI that run that game. The Alien has its own, which knows what the alien knows, right? And then there's another AI that they call the Director
Okay.
that knows everything. And so if you are effectively hiding from the alien, the Director will give the alien hints
What?
and drive the alien towards you.
You're kidding me.
I'm not.
Oh, that is next level.
So your main threat is operating off of only what it knows versus what you know. And that makes it like
That's tense.
right.
That's tense.
And I don't want to spoil any part of it. But the build up to meeting the alien the first time was so good. Like you turn a corner and you're like, shit, this is it. And then there's nothing.
Oh,
like,
because I know you get like a
you're
get like a tracker, right?
This is the moment that you're gonna see the alien, and there's nothing.
Oh my god!
And you get a motion tracker
That's what I thought. So
that it can hear.
Oh, I would hope so. I mean,
It beeps and dings and all that stuff, and it can hear it.
It'd be no fun if it couldn't hear. I think my favorite, and mine's really obscure. I know obviously I love the Mortuary Assistant. I think that was top tier. But my favorite my favorite horror game that I ever played, it's a two-parter. It's called the Vicious Sister 1 and 2. That's what it is. And it's I want to get this right. I believe it's a Korean. Oh, it's a Korean one, I believe.
Okay.
I don't think I get. Is it gone from my library? No.
I don't think I've heard of that.
I'm not seeing it.
Is it the Vicious Sister?
Or maybe it's Vicious Circle, but I'm sure it's. Yeah, I'm not seeing it in my library anymore. Maybe I just type in sister? Oh, it's the Coma! It's the Coma! That's what it's called! The Coma 1 and 2. The second one's called Vicious Sisters. So, yes. Yeah. Okay, now I see it in my library. There it is. I just can't spell, which is no secret if you've ever been in my Twitch chat. Can't spell, can't speak. I
resemble the lack of spelling.
I know, right? Yes. But that, to me, was one of the best two-part games I have ever played. It's a 2D side-scroller horror, and it was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. So good. But...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but I would say Mortuary Assistant is at the top right now.
Yeah, the Mortuary Assistant was really good. Yeah. I also like, if you go, what's so funny about me playing like Hunt, which is borderline horror, right? I don't know that I necessarily classify it.
They do market it as a spooky shooter.
So, like, I can see it's a horror game, right? But like, if you go back to when I was younger, I hated horror. Didn't like horror movies. Didn't like horror games. Didn't like any of that.
I was the same way.
And now, like, a lot of what I play is horror.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would say I become an indie horror streamer for the most part.
I've even started, like, I started playing the Resident Evil remakes, the 2, 3, 4 is coming up.
Yes, can't wait.
7 and Village, and I've decided I'm going to wait for them to remaster the games versus going back, 15, 20 years and grabbing those games to play.
I mean, that makes sense.
But man, there's just so many good horror games.
I know.
Dead Space.
Oh, which you didn't hear what I did you?
What'd you do?
About Dead Space? Did you hear what I did?
No.
Oh, well, it comes out. It comes out in just January.
Yeah.
I might have stumbled upon a collector's edition. Comes with a working helmet, all this cool stuff, and maybe costs $400. I may have bought it.
Damn.
Oh, I was like, I have to. I was like, I have to. Because to me, that is the the original Dead Space is the most terrifying game I have ever played. And this is first experience. Not going back and playing, but just first general experience. You're just like, I get chills even thinking about my first experience playing Dead Space. It's, whoa.
And they did so well with the threats in that game because, like, these aliens, right? These creatures are coming after you. but you can't just kill them.
Yeah, you have to dismember
You
them.
have to dismember them. You have to take them apart
Strategically. Like you
stop them from killing.
Like, do you want to take off an arm and make them less lethal? Or do you want to take a leg off and slow them down? Because you take their head off, they're still coming at you. And I think that was like the first game to kind of approach a horror game in such a manner.
I can't think of any other that had that that fight mechanic where you would take them apart.
It was,
and I know other games would send the same threat, but you would just deal it more damage.
Yeah,
and that was the only mechanic to it, right? So the tankier mobs, the stronger things, you had to deal more damage overall to kill them, but you couldn't like cripple it in some way, right? Like if you had 5 of them coming at you and you just take off the legs, that might make them overall more manageable because they're not as fast. But I can't think of any game.
No.
Right, like there were other games that had creatures that maybe started with no legs, and you would kill them. And nothing that you would like.
What you know
strategically
right? Because do you remember like sometimes you could like body shot them and you would think they were dead, but if you didn't go up and stop them, they were getting right back up.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then you could also like cut one of the arms off of them
and just
pick up that with the telekinesis and throw it as
satisfying. God, that's what I really liked about 2 is they made that infinite because it used to be you had to get boost, but that was the best decision they made for 2. Really excited for that game. So, is there a horror game that you just flat out quit or you didn't like that you streamed? Because I got a few.
Yeah. There are a couple. One that I want to go back and finish, but I ran into a bug that I got to the end of chapter 4 of Bendy and the Ink Machine. And I ran into a bug that if I load, I'm sorry, I think the end of chapter 3. If I load the chapter, it doesn't save my progress.
Oh, you gotta go back and finish that.
One of the quests, like the quest that that I'm on in that playthrough, it's finished, but it didn't complete, so I can't go on.
Oh my gosh, that's
I have to start the game from the beginning, and that frustrated me to the point where I was like, because I was loving that.
Such a good game,
so good.
Oh man, I love that. But you know what that made me think of that we just completely glossed over was Poppy Playtime. We completely glossed it. God, that was so good.
Was so good too.
Oh, I can't wait for episode 3. That's gonna be so good.
I'm trying to remember.
Gosh, I'm so sorry about
one.
Because I love Bendy.
At Dead of Night.
Oh yeah, we talked about this actually.
Yeah, so like that game, like the movement was weird. So like your character would be like perfectly still, and then like as you moved, it was like this weird motion, but you would only click to move. And then the part that like totally turned me off of the game was like I would go in and talk to one of the ghosts, right? And so you're trying, for those that don't know, you're trying to learn the story of these ghosts in this haunted hotel. And you get items and you get memories and you get all of this stuff to talk to these ghosts about. But as you ask them, if I ask a ghost about an item like a sword, right, but it's one that isn't related to that ghost, it like cuts the conversation short. So you can't ask about all the different items. But then at the point that I reached, I had like 8 memories and like 12 items and like five or so other people that I could ask about, but it doesn't track what you've asked about already. So if you go back to a ghost and you're like, hey, and you're like, I talked to you 5-10 minutes ago and I asked you about this one thing and this one thing. What about this other thing? And the ghost is like, no, and it fades away. And then you have to wait like 5 minutes before you can talk to it again. And then you're like, shit, what was the first thing I talked to it about? And so like, if you play that game, sit down with a notepad and track what items, what memories, what you talk to each ghost about. So that way you actually have a way of tracking those things.
I am so glad because that was on my list to play. I'm not going to play because I can't keep track of that stuff.
I would say like the story was great. I enjoyed like the villain in the game was interesting. All of those things, but it just lacked that element of like, just mark like a checkbox.
Yeah,
you talk
something
to them about this one. You talk to them about that one, and you're supposed to be solving this puzzle, but the game doesn't give you any means of tracking these things. And so it becomes defeating if you forget, because you talked to it about 2 items you talked to it about 30 minutes ago when it stopped talking to you, and it stops talking to you again.
Yeah, that's to me that'd be an instant game ending experience, which
it was frustrating.
I've only ever really quit like 3 games on stream. Like, it's very rare I quit one. I only just recently I added the 3rd game, No Place for Bravery. I had to rage quit, but I was provided a key to this game. It's called Burn Me Alive. It's like an indie horror. Yeah, it's called Burn Me Alive. It actually got a sequel, which is shocking, but just mechanics, graphics, puzzles, just incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful they gave me the key. I beat it. I gave it an honest review, as I always do when I'm provided a key. It was just frustrating. The other one, have you ever played Carrion?
I have not.
So I don't want to. I won't spoil anything, but are you aware of the premise of it?
No. So keep in mind, like when I say I got back into playing horror games and stuff, it's been like the last couple of years.
This has been the last 2 years.
Yeah. So, but I've like, as I've been starting to play horror again, everybody's been like, "Hey, you got to try this game. You got to try that game."
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And it's all stuff for like the last 5 years. So I'm getting like the best hits from the last like 5-6 years. So if it was like an indie game, something that was under the radar a little bit, I probably haven't heard of it.
Yeah. So just a quick synopsis. It's basically reverse horror. You know The Thing, right? You kind of play as a creature like The Thing.
Okay.
It's really cool, and I don't want to spoil it for you because it's honestly a great game. However, it's a big game. Like there's maps, there's tunnels, there's things get blocked off. It's very confusing. And there's no map. 0 map. And at the end of the game, you have to get back to some place. I'm not going to spoil where. And if you did not keep track, you have no idea where the fuck to go. And I just, oh man, I'm like on stream, like, where's the exit? Like, I'm like raging, screaming. I pull up a guide and there's no guide because it just came out, and nobody knows what to do. Still great horror game, loved it, but man, not throwing a map, that was considering how the game ends, not throwing a map was a fatal mistake in my opinion.
Did you ever play Subnautica?
No, but I watched a lot of it. I don't want to stream it, and I mean no offense to the community of it, but if you stream that game, the amount of backseaters that come in is it's just insane. I don't know where they come from. Hey, look down, you'll see this, and I'm like, chill out.
I ran into that with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, don't even get me started. No offense to them either, but like Ninja for one. I just
like everybody rolled up.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
Thankfully, I was able to kind of keep some of the backseating down to a degree, unless I asked for it. Right. But you're right, Subnautica. I streamed that, but I played it off stream first.
Oh, okay.
So I had already beaten it, and so I was playing it again and just like building a base and doing that stuff and like going through.
Oh, they still come
because I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to play it again. But there's no map in that game either.
Oh, that's right. There's not. I didn't even think about that.
Not. Oh, there's not. So I recommend if you are gonna play it, and this is how I played through it the first time, is because funny story, it's on Game Pass, or it was. So the missus was looking for a game to play, and she downloaded Subnautica, and she played it for about 45 minutes and was like, I can't deal with this, but I want to see how it goes. I want to see this game.
I hear that's how it goes if you don't have the backseaters.
Right. She hands me the controller, and she sat next to me on the couch with a guide up. And every so often when I was stumped, she would give me hints.
Okay.
Not go here, do this, but like what you're looking for isn't where you are.
Yeah, that's a good hint.
Things like that. And then every so often we would, like when I was real lost, we would use like there's maps online and stuff like that. We would use that and kind of use that as a guide. It's like it's the fan base is so rabid about this game that they created an online map resource.
I mean, that's fine, but like don't
manually mapped the game out.
Which that takes. There's communities out there that will do that, but like this one is just like it's up there.
They are hype about the game. If you love Subnautica, you love Subnautica.
Yeah, there is no and that's kind of why I've never touched it.
Yeah, and so like I've like if you were going to play it, something like that, if you were going to stream it, right? Like I would want to try and make sure like I was there, because I can give you vague direction or tips. And then we would want to like police the backseating part. But
Yeah, but
like it's a great game. I
it really
enjoyed
is. I've watched many people play it to completion. It's absolutely wonderful. That's a game for me where I just I'm like your wife. I'd rather just observe it, play for me.
Yeah.
but when I'm trying to mod for somebody and they're just being, I'm like, please stop, otherwise I will stab you with my sword. You know, it's one of those things. So yeah, those are the only ones I've ever come close. So let's just briefly talk about this. Why do you want me to play Aliens so bad? Like, can you please just tell people why?
So I am low key, right? Like if you want a chill stream where the streamer, like even when shit goes sideways, like horror, like jump scare, like I'm not the screamer, right? But this game got me a bunch of times, caused me to yell, to jump. And so I just envision you playing this game and it being glorious.
Oh, I can just see my screams now.
I could, but like so as I got through this game, and as I learned more about like the alien and the way to manipulate it and stuff like that, like you can do things certain ways to control the alien. And like that AI thing that I talked about before with the director and the alien, it's just so cool to me that like you're playing against an independently thinking creature. It's not just following like a set of instructions, but it's trying to follow and learn you and chase you down, track you down, hunt you.
Like it's actually a apex predator coming after you.
Right.
Not to be confused with the actual predator.
Right.
You know, that's out there, but that's basically You're just trying. I'm just trying to help visualize how you're trying to describe this, and basically you're saying you're going against a legitimate apex predator.
Right. And like you can't kill it. Right.
No, I know that. I knew you could not kill it.
Weapons. There are things you can do to chase it away temporarily and stuff like that. But like I don't want to say chess because I don't know if it's that level of depth, but it's
I'm sure if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, it is.
Yeah. So like, if you watch speedrunners, they always play it on Nightmare. So the hardest setting, because it makes the aliens slightly more predictable. They're way more aggressive, but more predictable.
Oh, that's smart.
When I played through it, I played it on hard. And the reason I did that was I was looking at the menu and I was trying to decide like what level of difficulty do I want to play it on? Because I don't want it to be like impossible.
Right.
But in the menu, when you get to hard, it says, this is how the game was designed to be played. And I was like,
sold. Okay.
Decision made.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And so I played through it on hard. I don't think at any one point did I sit there and go, this is just unfair. Right. But there were definitely some points where like the first time I ran into the alien, learning how to navigate around it, I got stuck for like 45 minutes on a part.
Oh man.
And like, as I did that and as I moved around and learned more about the alien, because at first it's freaking terrifying.
Yeah. I bet it is. When you're just trying to figure out that game for the first time, you're probably like, what do I do and how do I get out of it?
And like, it bum rushes you if it catches you, right? Like the aspects of what I was talking about, like for that Rougarou.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they should look at Alien Isolation for like some ideas on how it should move and how it should like hide and pounce on you and stuff like that. But after spending a little while grinding on that part and like learning it a bit, then it became easier. And so each section I was able to navigate and move around the threats and even use some of like the human threats to distract the alien.
Oh, well, there you go. That's just using your environment.
Right. You can like legitimately learn and move and flex around these different areas, these different creatures.
That sounds like a chess game.
It really is. Like, I don't know if it's quite at the level of chess.
No, but it's definitely close. It's definitely close.
It's definitely far up there. Right. And I think like that aspect of it, I really enjoyed.
You just want to see me scream. Just admit it.
I just want to see you scream.
Hey, I knew it. Listen, it's on the list.
I'll send you a clip of the first time the alien kills me, and I feel like I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm safe because I'm hiding under this desk, and it just like bum rushes me, and I'm like, oh shit.
You almost fall out of your chair?
Like legitimately lean away because it's
really? Dang. All right, listen. Yeah. Listen, I promise you it's on the list. Listen, it's on the list. That's all I can tell you.
16 years from now, I'm going to be like, Tats, about that game.
You gonna play it? It's
You're gonna be
honestly
like, I don't know. It's on the backlog still. I've got it on the list. It's right there.
it's honestly become like one of the greatest memes between me and Agent, and I absolutely love it. So now that we got that away,
Never
let's
let it go.
he
Unless
won't.
you
But
play it.
let's move into the end of this. Let's get some rapid fire in here. These are just random questions that I'm going to ask you. You can don't take it. Just whatever first thing comes to your mind. Okay, they're just a few short questions. What is your favorite food?
Steak.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. How about your favorite game besides Hunt?
The game I have the most hours on is probably World of Warcraft.
I did not expect that. Okay.
That's how I met my wife.
That's awesome. Now, you're now the second streamer I know that has met their wife that way. Interesting.
That game being so much of a grind is partly why I've laid off RPGs and games that are like that for such a long time.
Completely
Played
fair.
9,000 hours on one character.
Oh my god. Your favorite alcoholic drink?
So the one that I would say is my most go-to is the 12-year Glenfiddich.
Yes.
Scotch. It's not super expensive, very smooth, great, neat, great on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
A fair price for what you get for it.
Okay. Dang, I really want some now. Do you remember the first video game you ever played? That's a hard one, isn't it?
So I had an Atari.
Oh shit, we're really throwing back here. Was it
Way
Pong?
back
Was
in
it
the
Pong?
day. It probably was Pong.
Really?
If I go back that far, like I can't say that I played it well.
Okay.
But my dad's always been a computer person, right? Like that's what he did. That's what he's done for my entire life.
Okay.
Is work with computers. And so like we always had technology around because he loved it. It fascinated him. So we had like an Atari, an NES, all of those. Probably one of the Mario games, Super Mario Brothers, was probably one that I like.
You actually
vividly remember.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite childhood games, because I have an older brother and a younger brother. And so, of course, consoles, most often 2 players. It was a game called Secret of Mana. I don't know if you played it.
I actually know this game.
So it was one of the first games for NES, or SNES, excuse me, that you could plug in a multi-tap for, and you could play 3 players.
Yes.
So there were 3 characters, and me and my 2 brothers, we actually played that game to the point where the cartridge wouldn't hold saves anymore.
Wow.
Because we wrote over the save files that many times.
That's a lot. All right, and the final one, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. It bounces around sometimes, but I think the one that's been long-term favorite the most is Clue.
Oh god, you talking like the original one or the newer one?
The one from 1985.
Yes, that's actually a really, and that's probably my favorite board game too, hononestly.
Yeah, I enjoy Clue.
So, for me to answer these rapid fires, obviously my favorite food is pizza. I love pizza. If I had to pick a game outside of Hunt, this one might surprise you. It's actually Deep Rock Galactic. I love that game.
Galactic. I own that game and I've played it. I think I've maybe played like 4 hours in it.
I got like 500.
90 minutes.
I have 500 hours. I'm trying to get back into it. More content coming. Let's see here. My favorite alcoholic drink, honestly, outside of beer, it is a Spanish mule. Take a little liqueur 43, little ginger beer, some lime and some ice. You're good to go.
Interesting.
I love it. I actually have a bottle out there. And much like you, my first video game, I distinctly remember, I think it's Super Mario Brothers 3. I think that was the one. It was on the NES.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yellow cartridge.
Yep. It was. Yep. It had yellow cover on it, and that's the one. And then my
Mickey
favorite.
suit.
Yes, that's it. Yes. And then my favorite movie. A lot of people don't know this. It's The Boondock Saints with Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery.
I very much enjoyed The Boondock Saints.
I actually, you know those tattoos on their hands.
Yeah.
I got those on my ribs.
And shepherds we shall be for thee.
I didn't get the whole thing. I just got Veritas and Aquatus, or however you say it. I was a young.
The tattoos from the hands, but that's the Saint's Prayer.
Yeah. I was a young teen fanboy when I got those tats, because I didn't discover it till I was like maybe 18 or 19. I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. And then right as I discovered that, Boondock Saints 2 came out, and I'm still waiting for the third one.
It's
10
coming.
years later. Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. I'm gonna play Aliens.
Did you see they did a Boondock Saints whiskey?
I did. I've been trying to get my hands on it.
Did
you?
I think either the second release is coming or it just happened.
Oh, thank God. There's a chance.
So, but I don't know if you use Facebook or not.
I do.
Follow their page on Facebook.
I do.
I'm already. That's where I saw them posting.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my eyes out.
That's where they posted the links, the updates, like, hey, this run is coming, everything like that.
Awesome. Well, Agent, I appreciate you sitting down with me. I'm glad we got to have this chat. One of my longest friends on Twitch. Speaking of that, why don't you tell us when you're live next and what we can expect?
Yeah, so you can catch me streaming Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Saturday mornings. Most often on Wednesdays and Saturdays, you'll see Hunt Showdown, some DBD mixed in. I don't know when you're going to publish this, so I can't say next.
This week.
But this week?
Yep.
So this coming week? Okay. So probably catch me playing Hunt Showdown on either Wednesday. I'm actually streaming once on a Thursday, one off stream.
What?
And then, yeah, we're doing a Thursday.
Oh,
and then Saturday morning, twitch.tv/agent3540.
And I'll have all his links down below in the video. His Twitch, his Twitter, his Discord, if you guys want to go there. He's definitely a person you want to learn from, Hunt. I've learned a lot from him, despite him not liking my play style of charging, not charging. We're working that out.
It's not the play style. We got to get the play style to match the weapon you bring and like a 30-second heads up of, hey, I'm pushing.
What? I can't push with a Vetterly? Why can't I push with a Vetterly?
You can, but you're taking shots from forever away with a handgun when you got a shotgun. Let them come to you.
Ah, yes, I'll work on it.
Or just be like, hey, I'm pushing, because that's why I bring the Martini Henry repost, because I've got bullets and I've got a sword. So let's go.
He's not wrong. But
you just got to tell me.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you made it this far in the video and like what you saw, go follow Agent's socials down below. Throw a like to the video. Turn on the bell for notifications wherever it may be on this page. And then stay tuned to see who might be the next guest. Thanks for watching.
Bye, y'all.